News on the go for you now. NPA Head Shamila Batohi is set to address the Countering Transnational Organised Crime Conference in Johannesburg today. The two-day event will focus on Africa's criminal landscape, including human trafficking and other financial crimes. Our reporter Erin Bates is on the story and joins us now live. Erin, this conference comes, of course, just days after South Africa was grey listed. I imagine that's top of mind for many people. But what do we know about what's likely to come up?
Yes, well, it may well be that grey listing is top of mind as we go into this transnational crime conference here in Randburg this morning and over the next 2 days. But there are a number of continental crime issues on the agenda for the program. They include human and explosives trafficking, also financial crimes, and of course, wildlife trafficking too, so poaching not only in South Africa but further afield on the continent. And to get a better sense of what's in the program and what brings us here to this conference, I'm joined now by Kim Robinson. Kim, you have a number of roles, but tell us in what capacity you're here today.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity. I'm here as the country coordinator for Attorney General Alliance Africa. We're a non-profit, non-partisan organization that builds the capacity at institutional and individual level for African criminal justice experts to fight transnational crime.
Now, you're in a lot of countries on the continent. I believe that you have a presence in some 9 or 10. What work have you been doing in South Africa and with law enforcement in the country to ensure and underpin rule of law?
We are driven by the agenda of that individual country. So here in South Africa, our partners include the Ministry of Justice, the Financial Intelligence Center, the National Prosecuting Authority, the South African Police Service. We have had dozens of events in the country. We've looked at gender-based violence and cybercrime. We've looked at just improving the advocacy skills of prosecutors, human trafficking, financial crimes, organized crime. So again, the entity tells us what their priorities are and we address them. You mentioned grey listing. For example, one of our partners is the Financial Intelligence Center. We stand ready to engage to address the issues that were brought up by the FATF that led to the grey listing. So we would love the opportunity to build that capacity.
Now, you talk about the countries themselves here on the continent setting the agenda. Of course, that's very important. We've just had the president of Uganda visiting South Africa. The issue of sovereignty and the agency of sovereign states coming up. How do you negotiate that when you are ultimately driving a certain sort of framework around justice, rule of law, and values in terms of democracy?
You know, there's a lot of space because everyone cares about making sure that their citizens are safe, that their citizens have justice. So I'm the country coordinator here in South Africa. We have country coordinators like me in Uganda, Ghana, Kenya, and several other countries. It's not, and the problem isn't just a South African problem or an African problem, it's global because crime knows no borders. So folks are actually engaged and excited about speaking to us because we have the same values. We want people to be safe, people want justice, and also you want investment on the continent. If people feel that their financial assets are at risk, why would they want to invest? If they feel they're not physically going to be safe, why would they want to invest? So we find plenty of common ground to speak with our partners throughout the continent.
Thank you. We're going to have to leave it there. We're quite short on time, but we are going to get some input now from a member of Good Governance Africa who's also involved in the program here. Of course, the keynote speech from 9 o'clock this morning, is that from Advocate Shamila Batohi, head of the National Prosecuting Authority. We know that the NPA has in fact been working with prosecutors and getting input from other states. They include, of course, prosecutors from France. We heard that during a portfolio committee address by Batohi and colleagues, and also the UK and the US, so the likes of Robinson giving us some insight into those transnational sort of skills-sharing programs. Stephen, I've completely forgotten your surname. You'll give it to me and tell us your role here as part of Good Governance Africa.
Hi there, I'm Stephen Buchanan-Clark. I head up the Human and National Security Program at Good Governance Africa. We're a registered NPO. We do research and advocacy on core governance issues across the continent with offices in Johannesburg, Accra, Lagos, and Addis Ababa.
Now, you've done some work also with the ISS around security issues. You're a security expert with over a decade's experience. What did you make of some of the comments yesterday during the Ugandan president's address around continental security issues?
Yes, well, it's very concerning. I think we've had a bad week in South Africa with the grey listing under the Financial Action Task Force, as well as some of the revelations we're seeing in the news about the work of cartels in Eskom, and just the pressure crime and transnational crime in particular is putting on our national economy and development potential just in South Africa. Across the continent, it's a huge problem, and that's one of the reasons we convened this conference here today, and we've made a point of getting input from practitioners and researchers from across the continent, Ethiopia, from Namibia, members from multilaterals like the African Union and SADC. So we really wanted to try and create a sort of see how we can learn lessons from different countries and really innovate creative solutions to addressing this problem.
Thank you. Just lastly and very quickly, we are wrapping up. One transnational crime that particularly affects the SADC region is, of course, illegal mining, the smuggling of mineral resources in and out of South Africa's borders. Is that something that's going to be touched on during the program?
Absolutely, yes. So, a lot of this program is based on research work we've done at GGA for a journal entitled Africa, in fact, and one of the primary case studies on that was illegal mining, and not just the actual mining, but the illicit financial flows associated with that mining, as well as some of the cross-border dynamics, which impact upon human security and our development potential.
Stephen Buchanan Clark, there's that surname for you, and as we move toward 9 o'clock, of course, Advocate Batohi of the NPA going to give that keynote address. It's 2 days of programming or sort of conference events here, including talks with a number of speakers, and as we hear, not only will grey listing come up, but also zama-zamas, amongst other transcontinental, transnational crimes which involve illicit financial flows.
Absolutely an important gathering, and we'll keep watching it with you. For now, Erin Bates, live just there from Johannesburg. Thanks very much indeed.